How old are you?
I am 42.
What does it feel like to be 42?
Exhausting all the time. I mean, it's cool. I've learned a lot over the years, but it's just I'm exhausted. I'm working all the time and just trying to find time to balance life.
Does it feel differently than when you were in your 30s and 20s?
I thought I was invincible when I was in my 30s and 20s, and I'm clearly not.
Did you have like a moment that kind of hit and you realized you weren't invincible?
No, not really. Just over time, just started to realize it.
What is one thing that when we're younger we tend to prioritize, but as we get older we realize isn't actually that important?
Probably money. Realize that over time, family, friends, experience is more important.
Is there a reverse, like something that we don't prioritize enough when we're in our 20s that we should?
Time.
What should we do?
Just enjoy it more and really live in the moment.
As people age, they seek more peace and stability. Men in their 40s often find it easier to connect with partners, seen as stable and dependable. Women, however, face tougher challenges in dating, partly due to societal pressures and their own feminist ideals, which can complicate their search for meaningful relationships.
With your sameness and fairness thing, to be honest with you, it kind of sounds to me like you want equality as long as it's benefiting women, but when it's not benefiting women and men can take the brunt of it, you're like, that's cool. Like, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, how do you see that?
Well, I mean, if we lived in like a properly feminist world, there wouldn't be affirmative action initiatives to put more women in positions of like workplace positions and in academic positions. If we had a truly equal world, women, like I said, would get drafted into the military. Like, I think if feminists want to truly fight for equality, it's like, put your money where your mouth is. But if you only want equality when it's benefiting you, then it's not. You don't actually want equality. You just want a world that benefits women more often.
To be honest, your push for equality sounds like it's only for when it benefits women. If it means men bear the burden, you're okay with that. True equality would mean embracing tough realities, like women being drafted or losing preferential treatment. If feminists truly wanted equality, they'd advocate for these hard truths, not just for advantages that benefit women.
Feminist women out here making these good men not want to be good men. I don't need no man. I can do it all by myself. Can you? Can you? I mean, I know physically I can take care of myself. I've been on my own since I was 17. Do I want to take care of myself all the time? No. Do I want to be independent all the time? No, I don't. Do I want to take care of somebody? Yes, I do. Do I want to make sure dinner is cooked and laundry is done and contributing to the household and taking care of the kids? Yes. Yes, I do. And then we got all you waffles out here ruining good men. They don't want to be good men because of feminists.
This take is infuriating. Feminism is driving a wedge between men and women, making good men hesitant to be themselves. What's wrong with wanting traditional roles? They bring balance and harmony. Pushing for total independence destroys the essence of partnership. It's natural to want to care for someone and be cared for in return. Blaming men for reacting to feminism is ridiculous. Feminism isn't just empowering women. It's tearing apart genuine relationships.
I keep getting comments and DMs asking me if I'm single, dating, other variations of that. And I thought this new year would be a great opportunity to explain how I'm feeling about dating right now in more detail.
Literally, no one asked. No one asked.
Feeling about dating right now in more detail. Let's say I pull out a jar and I go, guess what? There are 10 M&Ms in this jar. And you go, Laura, that's amazing. I love M&Ms more than anything else in the world. And you're like, yep, get in here and pick out your M&M so you can be happy for the rest of your life. And then so you stick your hand in there and all of a sudden you're in horrible pain and you go, hey, what the? And I go, oh my God, I forgot to mention, also in the jar, it's filled with maggots and needles and acid. But keep sticking your hand in there. It's worth it to find the M&M. So you keep sticking your hand in there, but the maggots bite you or whatever maggots do and the needles stab you and the acid burns you. So you tell me, hey, this isn't fun for me at all. So I say, well, I think you're just really bad at picking out M&Ms, and it kind of seems like you like getting bitten and stabbed and burned. But you need to get back in there because there are millions of other hands looking for those M&Ms. Here's some advice from people who found M&Ms before, years ago, even though it sounds like they're not M&Ms at all. And so you keep trying, but you realize that every single time you stick your hand in here, you're just getting hurt. And every time you pull your hand out, it's getting more and more disfigured, and you're starting not to recognize yourself. And there was this one time you thought you found an M&M, but it was a maggot pretending to be an M&M for some time. And you go, hey, I don't want...
Is this an analogy for her saying that she's ran through? I'm really, really confused. I kind of get what she's saying, but also wish she would just say it clearly.
Want to do this anymore? It doesn't seem worth it for the M&M. And I go, no, you don't understand. You won't be happy and fulfilled until you have an M&M. Also, you're going about it all wrong. You need to try setting good boundaries. But then you realize boundaries are just sticking your hand in the jar and just pulling it out faster than normal so you're not as disfigured and hurt. So then I go, hey, have you tried only picking the ones that give you money and then be mean to them so that they give you more money? And you go, I've been bitten by the maggots and stabbed by the needles and burned by the acid so much to know there is no financial compensation that makes it worth it. Also, I can't even find a normal M&M. How am I gonna find an M&M with money? So then I call you a pick-me that deserves to get hurt because you won't evolve your M&M picking strategy with the times. Hey, doesn't that make you want to punch me in the face really, really hard? Did I mention that?
I'm really confused. Am I being dumb? I'm really confused.
All the while, the maggots and needles and acid are screaming at you that you're too stuck up and you need to lower their standards and be their surrogate mommy, or else you're gonna die alone. But don't worry, they want you to stick your hand back in the jar because they're not gonna bite and burn and stab you like those other ones did. Here's what I'm gonna be doing. I'm closing the jar. I'm gonna throw the jar in the ocean, and I'm gonna work on fixing my hand. Am I ever gonna stick my hand in the jar again? I really don't want to right now, but maybe that will change with time. But I think right now I'm tired of being told that I'm not good at picking M&Ms and that my standards are too high just because I want to be with someone who is kind to me and treats me like a human being. My orthodontist once told me that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. It is starting to feel like insanity to keep drinking from the Kool-Aid that keeps poisoning me. So I'm not anymore.
This view is way too negative. Comparing dating to sticking your hand in a jar of maggots and needles is just too extreme. Yes, dating can be tough, but plenty of people find real, loving relationships. This analogy only makes things seem worse than they are. Relationships need effort and patience, but they don't have to be a constant struggle. Don't let past disappointments make you shut yourself off from future possibilities.
A lot of guys are socially awkward.
I think you're a bit ignorant to like the average guy's experience. Consider this, right? The average guy today, his granddad had to put in a quarter of the work to get the kind of woman that is 4 times as amazing as the woman he's attracted.
Oh, you're talking about
his grandmother was an amazing woman and a very, very feminine, natural woman, and his granddad really didn't have to do the kind of work he has to do right now as a young man.
So you're talking about hoflation.
Yes, it's hoflation.
Hoflation. So modern men have to work 5 times harder than their grandfathers did for women 20 times worse than what their grandmothers were.
It's true. It's actually true.
The idea that modern men have to work 5 times harder than their grandfathers for a partner is a bit off. Times have changed, and yes, dating dynamics are different now, but it's not just about inflation of effort. Both men and women face unique challenges today. It's not about one side having it worse, it's about adapting to new realities. It's time to recognize that relationships are more complex now, not necessarily harder.
Okay, real quick for the ladies. I'm going to describe a regular man for you, and I want you to tell me if you would marry this man.
Okay.
5'8", about 35 to 50K per year. Would you marry that?
Hell no. Hell no. He's below the poverty line. What are you talking about?
The poverty line is actually far less
regular.
than that.
Yes.
But, the average man in the United States today is about 5'8" and makes somewhere between $35,000 to $50,000 per year.
5'8" is fine, but I don't know about the 35.
Real quick, raise your hands. How many of you guys would marry that man? Raise your hands if you would marry him. Yes or no?
I don't even know any men in that
Okay, hold on.
position.
So no one at the table would marry this man, right? No. Okay. Congratulations. You and 1,000 other girls plus we've interviewed said the same exact thing. So it goes back to what I said. You said, most girls are gonna get a regular man. No, most girls don't even view regular men as members of society or an option. Most girls want extraordinary men.
It's outrageous. How can women be so dismissive of men who are just average people? Sure, 5 feet 8 inches and earning $35 to $50K a year is typical, but that doesn't make them any less valuable. Women who so easily reject men for these flaws show a blatant disregard and lack of respect. It's not just arrogance, it's a real barrier to genuine relationships and understanding. You'd think these same women with such requests were like queens themselves.
So I'm probably gonna get shit for this video, but honestly, I don't care, I'm gonna make it anyway. I wanna talk about guys that reject hot chicks and then slum. Meaning you dated a hot girl and then decided that hot girl was not for you and are now dating a girl that is not nearly as hot. Obviously, there can be a lot of factors as to why you reject a hot girl. This is just a very broad generalization, but I'm gonna say it. I think the main reason that men reject hot women is because they don't want to have to work that hard. I mean, I think it's no secret that hot chicks tend to have higher expectations and higher standards than maybe less attractive women. I know how that sounds. It sounds really bad, but I think it's just because, again, hot chicks are just used to being treated a certain way. So I do think oftentimes when attractive men meet attractive women, they're almost like, crap, I'm actually gonna have to put in a lot of work here. Whereas girls that are less attractive just don't require that much work. To be clear, I think that you guys should be putting in work for whoever you are dating, no matter what they look like. But I think that girls that are less attractive, I mean, they're gonna be more likely to just accept you for how you are. They're gonna appreciate you more. They're going to demand less. They're gonna make you feel better about yourself. Again, obviously, I'm sure that it's like you could break up with a hot chick because she's just an asshole. But if that were really the case, then why wouldn't you date another hot girl afterwards? And yes, I understand that obviously other things than looks are more important, and you could have matured and realized like, hey, I actually wanna date somebody that I have shit in common with and makes me laugh and that's smart and cool and not just hot. But there are hot girls that have good personalities and that are smart and cool and you have things in common with too. They're just higher maintenance. I get it, you're gonna call me shallow and all of that, but I'm just calling it like I see it. Am I crazy? Let me know in the comments below. Follow me for more tips.
This take is downright insulting. Blaming high maintenance for rejecting attractive women is just a cop-out. It's lazy and unfair to say that relationships with beautiful people are too hard. If a guy can't handle a bit of effort or wants someone who demands less, that's a reflection of his own weaknesses, not the worth of the partner. Relationships should be about genuine connection and respect, not just taking the easy way out. It's time to stop making excuses and start putting in the real work to find someone who truly matters.